Hello everyone and welcome to Octagon News. Today we're bringing you the latest updates from the world of MMA. Here's what's making headlines. Pereira surprises his parents with an incredible new mansion. Matt Brown shares his thoughts on Aljamain Sterling and Chris Weidman being placed on the UFC 310 prelims. Machado Garry reveals Charles Oliveira will be in his corner for UFC 310. Ciryl Gane says he was ready to face Tom Aspinall in March. Let's dive into these stories. Ciryl Gane revealed he was game to fight Tom Aspinall earlier this year. UFC interim heavyweight champion Aspinall claimed Gane turned him down for a title fight at UFC 304 in July. Aspinall wound up facing Curtis Blades instead, stopping him via TKO to retain his belt. Fernand Lopez confirmed Gane did indeed turn Aspinall down for UFC 304, but only because he had already committed to filming a movie with Netflix, something the UFC was well aware of. Gane, however, says there was no fight offer for September, and that Aspinall in fact turned him down for a fight in March. Yeah, of course for March, but it was not possible. He said, "I refused him in September, but the UFC didn't propose me any contract with him for then. Like I've said, I'm looking for the best for me, and every time is in front of me, and this is exactly what he's doing now, just looking in front of him." I didn't call him out on the social media, but the UFC knew this is a fight that we're looking for. Who do you believe would come out on top in a potential matchup between Tom Aspinall and Ciryl Gane? Is this a fight you'd be excited to see in the future? Share your thoughts in the comments. Gary has a little extra help for UFC 310. This Saturday, Gary takes on Shavkat Rakhmonov in a 5-round co-main event of UFC 310. It's an important fight for Gary as a win likely puts him next in line for a welterweight title shot, and as such, Gary's pulling out all the stops, including bringing a very special corner man with him to the event. I read a stat the other day. Charles Oliveira went to the 4th round for the first time in his career after his 46th UFC fight. That's insane. The guy is a machine. I love and adore Charles Oliveira with all of my heart. He is absolutely the most entertaining fighter in the UFC. Man has never been in an unentertaining fight. He's an absolute savage. I love him, and he's going to be in my corner for this fight. If Gary manages to back up his words, he will almost certainly challenge welterweight champion Belal Muhammad next. Still only 27 years old, Gary would then have the chance to become one of the youngest champions on the UFC roster, but he has no intention of stopping there. Gary has big plans for himself, and they all start this weekend. UFC 310 features 4 current or former champions, but only 2 of them are on the main card, with Alexandre Pantoja headlining the event and former interim title holder Ciryl Gane taking on Alexander Volkov in a rematch. Meanwhile, former middleweight champion Chris Weidman is the 5th fight of the night on the early prelims, with former bantamweight king Aljamain Sterling 2 spots later on the preliminary card. While it oftentimes seems like there's no real rhyme or reason to the way the UFC fills out a bout order, Sterling took offense to his spot on the prelims as arguably the greatest 135-pounder of all time, not to mention his fight against Evloev could potentially crown a new top contender in the featherweight division. During his career, Matt Brown occupied just about every spot possible on UFC card, but he admits that being placed on the prelims always rubbed him the wrong way. That's why he fully understands Sterling's gripe, even if the UFC wasn't trying to slight him with his spot on the card. It's like this. I think fighters naturally look at it as almost a respect thing. What do the UFC think of us? When they put us on the main card, we think that they think more of us. When they put us on the prelims, you feel like you're kind of demoted. When former champs like Chris Weidman or Aljamain Sterling get put on prelims, it feels like a demotion. It's like saying, you're on your way out, instead of building them toward the main event, which is where every fighter wants to be. Ever since arriving in the UFC, Pereira has been able to accomplish some incredible things. In addition to becoming the middleweight champion after knocking out Israel Adesanya, he has also been able to move up and win a 2nd world title at light heavyweight. He's also managed to successfully defend the title on 3 different occasions. It's put him in the running for Fighter of the Year, and it has set him up as one of the biggest stars in all of mixed martial arts. When you consider it's only been 3 years since he first made his UFC debut, that's pretty remarkable. Now he's taken the time to take a look back at what he's achieved in his personal life, specifically regarding what he's been able to do for his family. On X, he shared 2 photos. Under the first one, he wrote, "4 years ago having lunch at my parents' house." Under the second, he wrote, "They're home today. Thank you very much, my God." This is the dream for most fighters who make their way into combat sports. It's about giving back to those who have helped you, and boy oh boy has Pereira been able to do that. Now, it's a case of cementing his legacy even further, likely through an upcoming title showdown with surging contender Magomed Ankalaev. Thanks for tuning in to Octagon News. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more MMA updates. See you next time.